Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Stitch and Books. My name is Jill. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a 30-something professional nanny living in Southern California, and this is a channel where I talk primarily about cross stitch and the books I listen to while stitching. And spoiler alert, there's going to be a lot of haul at the end of this. I don't think I've shared anything that I've bought ever since I came back from Florida, which was over Thanksgiving. So we have that haul, Jingle Ball haul, Christmas kind of presents that I bought myself, Destash haul, like we have a lot. But good news is we have just about one of everything. We have a fully finished object today, a finished object, two finished objects today. We have whips, no new starts, and we have books. Again, I think I'll be able to have time to go through all the books that I've been reading, and we can dive in. Okay, so I have a fully finished object, and it's something that you guys have seen or saw, when was it? Definitely at the end of last year, but it is my little Christmas pickle. So I fully finished it into an ornament. It came with like the Mill Hill kit. So this is Christmas Pickle by Mill Hill. It came with like what to make for a magnet, but this I felt deserved a spot on the tree. So I just sprayed some felt that I had onto the back, and because if you can see, like this kind of has like a thing where it would be like an ornament. I just punctured this through the felt, and that is how it will hang on my tree next year. So I'm very, very excited to have this little ornament. So yes, that is Christmas Pickle, Mill Hill kit. I finished it while I was in Florida, and it's just been kind of sitting on this table right here ever since. Just because didn't feel like fully finishing it until this morning because I need it put away. But there is that. Happy to have that done. It was very, very easy. I think I was intimidated with the whole like spraying down. What kind of like felt finish did I want? Did I want to trace it out, or did I want to just glue it onto the felt and like give myself a border? And as you can see, I sprayed the glue onto here, stuck it on the felt, and then I cut around the felt. So I have a little bit of a felt border, which I think I really like that. It leaves a lot of the guesswork out on like making it fit exactly right, and I can kind of finagle it to look how I wanted to. So recommend that. I have two finishes for you today. One is my round robin piece, but this one is what you have seen in the thumbnail. This is Polar Pack by Plum Street Samplers, and here it is. So I think this is so cute. I did change a little bit of the design. Let me get in real close for you to see. So it is charted to have like a little bumblebee right here with the Santa hat, and I just didn't feel like that called to me or was needed in this design. I don't know if that's something that is common in like these little stackables from Plum Street Samplers, but I didn't feel like it needed it. So I went in and replaced that one right there. And then two other substitutions that I did get the classic Colorworks Pea Pod and Licorice, the green and the red for this piece, but I did call for a Weeks Dye Works for this blackish color and for the white. And at the time when I bought this piece, I didn't really understand the point of getting like an over-dyed white or black, because in my mind they were just white and black. So I just went with DMC Blanc with this for the white. And then I had originally started doing 310 for the black, which was the substitution, but I felt that was too stark for this, because this is actually stitched on 36 count Nessie linen by Picture This Plus. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful blue, wintry blue for this. And the black just didn't, it stood out too much. So I substituted for $37.99 DMC. And I think that worked out really great because it was for the mouths, the eyes, and the little nails for the polar bears. And for this one, the eyes and mouth, especially for the little baby up here, it's all over one. And that was a lot. So luckily I was doing this 36 count, 1 over 1. And so that would make it easy to do the 1 over, or no, sorry. I did this 36 count, 2 over 1. No, 1 over 2. Wow. You can tell that I've been out of practice for explaining anything. I did this 1 over 2 on 36 count, but the eye area and the mouth area on the little baby one is a 1 over 1. And so that was, I think I had to frog, this area a lot because when I picked this up, so I started this in March 2024, and so I finished it in the end of beginning of February. So only 11 months, but this sat, when you saw this in my whip parade, it did not have this filled in or the rest of this polar bear. So when I picked it up, I just used the white that was in my project bag for this. Come to find out that was, did I use Blanc? No, I used B5200 for this, but what was in my bag was Blanc. And so as I started, like, cause I already had like this bit of the polar bear done, and I swear, I know they look like they're 2 different whites, but I swear it is the same. I just think there's like modeling over for this one that made it look darker. Because when I look at it very up close, it's fine. But I mean, it would be more weird if like half of this bear looked, but I swear I use the same thing, because even in my like digital chart, like my spreadsheet, I said I use B5200. So I switched it out, B5200, but I had started doing this bear when I picked this back up at the end of January using Blanc, and you could totally tell that they were different colors. So I had to like frog this over 1 out like 2 times because I think I did it wrong, and then I used the wrong color, and then I used, it was a lot. I do not recommend frogging over 1 stitches. So, but I love this. Put my little initials in there. You can't really see it, and the year. This is called for or taken. When I finished my mom's Christmas stocking, I shared it with one of my afternoon boys, and he was like, oh, can I have it? And I was like, your name's not Lisa, and this is a very big project, and it was made with the intention of giving it to my mom. He's like, yeah, but can I have it? And I was like, no, dude, like, you're not gonna have this stitching. So as I was finishing this, like, I don't really, it's cute. I'm happy to have stitched it, but I don't really feel called to keep it. So I knew as I was finishing it up, I was like, I'm gonna show it to him, and I'm sure he's probably gonna want it. And sure enough, he has claimed it. I was like, okay, like I showed it to him. He's like, okay, yeah, I want it. And I was like, great, perfect. Let me take it back and I'll do like a flat fold for you. And he's like, no, I'll just take the loose fabric like this. And I was like, no, because I kind of figured he just like kind of wants to like cuddle with it, because he's very much a cuddle bug. And I was like, no, actually, let me take it home and I'll make you a pillow out of it. He's like, no, I'll just take this. And I was like, no, let me take it. So I will be doing a first pillow finish for this. I don't exactly know what fabric to do for a backing, but that will be a fun adventure for another time. My birthday is his half birthday, so maybe I'll like do it with the intention of giving it to him on his half birthday, just because I don't want to wait until his birthday at the end of the year. So we will do this for him. But super exciting. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. If you have any questions, if I forgot anything, because I'm very rusty right now, please let me know. I might be giving away this pattern soon. I kind of have to go through all that I own, but I'll get into that at the end of why I'm doing that and what will be included. So, ooh, I think I just found a stitch. No, it was just wonky for being wonky. So there's that. Polar Pack Plum Street Samplers, 36 count, 1/2 on Nessie. Picture this plus linen. Okay, next finish. Okay, this next finish is my portion completed on the Carolyn round robin that I am in with Jen from Jen's Fiberweb, Rebecca from Beck Stitches Everything, and Jamie from Nesting Seam Stitchery. I think that's what it is, Stitches. Nesting Seam, she's right there. Jamie just rebranded her YouTube and her Instagram. A wonderful, cute logo. I think I get her piece next because her piece went to Jen and I have Jen's piece, and then mine went to Rebecca. So that's kind of like the circle that we're doing. But this is the view from my garden. And yeah, this is the correct one. So I finished my little quadrant up here. So Jen did this, I did this one, and then this other half will be for the others. So there it is. I had so much fun stitching on this, and this, to be honest, was the first thing I picked up when I felt like stitching again. It took me about like 2 weeks to kind of pick up thread and needle, or needle and thread and fabric again. It's just a lot to process, but I was determined to get this done, and I did it exactly how Jen did it hers, and I think it worked out great. So you do all the green first, and then you go in with the color, and it did pop like that, and I had a lot of fun stitching this. Yeah, I know I didn't do that for the longest time, but it is complete. Look at that. This was a fun piece to do. So I am looking forward to stitching on Jamie's piece. I know Jen finished Jamie's piece, but there's no real timeline on these, on our round robin, just because, I don't know, all of us kind of have had lifing, with travels and everything else. So this is done. It's stitched 2/2 on a 32 count mystery linen. I don't know, but I absolutely love it. I think it's a gorgeous yellowy color for this piece. And I think it just shows all the colors very well. So there's that. Like I said in my intro, I don't have any new starts. When I had to get evacuated, it started as a warning, and then it just boom, I was 100% evacuated. I was looking around my apartment and figuring out what I wanted to, what I was willing to let go of. And you learn a lot about all the things that you have accumulated in your life, and it was hard to say goodbye, especially because some pieces were more memorable to me, but I couldn't fit it in my car, or because I've thrifted a lot of my furniture in here, and every piece, I do have an attachment to some materialistic things. I love my dining room table. I think it's one of a kind, and I thrifted that for a great deal. I love that table. There's a reason when I moved out of my last apartment, I moved into this one. It's because it could fit my dining room table. It was between this and another apartment that would not have fit, and I chose this one for that reason. And while, you can always replace materialistic things, there are some things that I am attached to, but one thing that I could take was all my cross stitch stuff. So one of my huge suitcases, I just filled in all my charts, all my kits, all my fabric, all my whips, and I had just filmed that whip parade 2 days before, so I kind of had everything out, and all my haul that I hadn't gone through. I took these books because for me they're collector's items. Definitely took this because it is signed and dedicated, and So I don't have any new starts because I lived out of my suitcase for a while and I just wasn't ready to let go or like to unpack because you never knew which way the wind blows. So don't have any new starts. That's a long way to say I don't have any new starts. I want to start so many things though. So I'm sure in the subsequent videos, there will be new starts. And I only have 2 whips to share. I only worked on, besides finishing those, I was very hyper focused on finishing garden and then finishing the polar pack, or view from my garden and polar pack. So I kind of like, I hyper fixate on certain projects and I just want to get them done. And then I can go and visit other whips. In my whip parade, I talked about having like a focus for 2025 of every month having a new animal themed whip. And so that's why I worked on the polar pack because it's so close to being done. It was animal themed, winter themed. It felt appropriate to get that done and have that off my whip list before the 1-year mark. So the next one that I worked on, Peacock and Pomegranate, and that is by Cottage Garden Samplings. I absolutely love this piece and I love it because of the fabric that I chose to stitch on. So I am stitching this on a 36 count Flannel Flower from Fox and Rabbit, and just look at this piece of fabric. Like, it is the most beautiful fabric, I think. I have a big crease line, so I really hope when I fully finish it that crease line goes out. Last time you saw this in the whip parade, it probably looks the same. This one is slow going for me, but I really enjoy working on this. So it's 1/2 on 36 count using all the called for threads, which are DMC. I might be doing a little finagling of working in a silk for the peacock's tail feathers, but I need to see how that all works out. But I have been working on this flower. So I put in, you can't really tell, the white, the yellow, this lighter pink. I finished out these leaves, and with this thread, with this fabric, I'm noticing that I really can't carry my dark threads before I do my lighter threads. So I'm trying to finish the lighter colors before I fill in the darker gradients. So that's why I've focused on doing this light pink, so that way I can go in and do the dark pink. And then there's a crown up here. I think, as you can see in the photo, I think in the crown, I'm gonna put my birth year, because this is going to end up, very rarely do I know what I'm gonna make out of this, but this is going to be a lumbar pillow, and it'll probably be in this chair that I'm sitting in right now. So I think it would be really cute to do my birth year right there and have the peacock. Why the peacock is really not meaningful to me, other than I guess, yeah, I grew up with, like, we had this vase, and Mom, you can comment if you figure out how to comment because she watches these now. We had a vase that was full of peacock feathers, like individual feathers. Don't know why we had it. Maybe it was just one of the decors of the 80s and 90s that just stood on our fireplace throughout growing up. So, but this is, I really like it. I really love working on this fabric. I'm enjoying 1/2, and I'm doing more. I'm trying to perfect my sewing method. I think it's a mental game. I think I can tell the difference when I use the sewing method as opposed to the stab and pull method, because I stitch everything in hand. One thread is really easy to practice the sewing method, and so it is kind of nice to do the sewing method. We'll see as this progresses how it will all work out. But yeah, so this is my focus for February. My February animal is the peacock and pomegranate. I don't think I will touch the peacock, but it is a fun one to work on. I do kind of want to see it finished. I know the Unstoppable Stitcher finished hers over on Instagram. She did it on a very wonderful opalescence fabric, and I do think Amity from Boomerang Stitches on Instagram and the Hathaway stitchers on YouTube, she's working on this one. Other than that, those are the only ones that I've seen on my radar. So if you know of anyone, please let me know. I'm always curious to see what other people put their piece on, like what fabric, because it just calls for like a 36 count raw natural linen, and that just wasn't really speaking to me. I wanted something else. So that's Peacock and Pomegranate. My last and final whip for you guys today is one I feel like is a crowd favorite, but it is one of my favorites too. It is my Italian Lemons by Kooler Design Studio. I bought this as a kit, and it is intended to be finished, slated to be finished in September for my cousin's 1-year wedding anniversary. So that really, I think I gotta work on it, because I think in my whip parade I also said I want to dedicate 7 days a month to this piece. I think I gotta do more than 7 days a month, or maybe increase the hours on those days that I do it. Since you saw it in my whip parade, I've put in 3, 7, 10, 13, 15, 18, 20. So since you last saw it in my whip parade to today, I put in 20 hours of stitching, and maybe they weren't the most dedicated hours of stitching. I put in 20 hours, and I don't think you can tell that I've made any sort of difference or change. I am stitching this on a 32 count vintage Sahara linen from Zwiegart. It is a printed linen. You can kind of tell that there's a little bit of modeling. I think when I fold it over, you can tell a little bit more that there's something going on with it. So I've done 20 hours on this piece. It does not look like it. I think the majority of my time spent was doing more of the back stitching and a lot of white fill in. So I am just trying to fill in as much white as possible and do the back stitching. And this is where I kind of learned that I need to do the lighter colors first before I do darker colors, because for all of this, you can kind of see, especially here, I did all the blue first, and you can see where I've dragged my thread underneath for these cross stitches. And I'm just worried. I feel like if I change it now, then you'll tell that like this side, it will be different from the others. But at the same time, I kind of do want it to not have like blue show through. I'm just trying to connect, like fill it. So I did a lot of white fill in up here, a lot of white fill in up here, and they're just like long lines of white. I'm just trying to go in like a diagonal so I can fill it in. But these basically, this whole page is done, and this whole page I just have to do the back stitching on the leaves and the flowers. I started the back stitching up here on the lemon, so that has been like a lot of fun. I put in those things, and then I know I most recently filled in, I brought this across. This is the end of the other page, and then we have the final 2 pages there. So I think I need to put in more days or more hours. I'm not exactly sure, because this needs to be done by September. This needs to be done by September. I am in the process of frogging this out, and this, when I get to it, I started in the middle, and then I was off by like 1 stitch or something, and I had done all this. So it was just easier to frog this than redo everything. Here is only off by one stitch. But with this pattern, you really can't fudge it, because there's just a lot of color changes. Kooler Design Studio, they did my stocking, or they're the ones that hold the rights. Sandy Orton designed that stocking. I actually don't know if Sandy Orton, no, I don't think she designed this one, but they're known for a lot of color changes and a lot of, not so many blends, but like these are all different colors up here in the border. Someone asked me, I think in my Stitchy group, which, hello ladies, I have not seen you guys in forever. life's been lifing. I think someone asked if this was a variegated thread. No, this is charted to be these 3 different colors. So it's a lot of color changes, and it looks so good. I am in love with this detailing down here. I think it looks so hand painted and rustic, which is why I'm not like freaking out about my accuracy on my backstitch, because I think it looks great. It works for this piece. Backstitch the flower. It's lovely. I love it. So I'm just kind of like figuring out where I want to go next in this next like 2 pages. Do I want to work on the bottom, like in the inner tile with the lemons and the flowers, or do I want to like slog away with the white? Because I like just having the white knowing for fill-in, but I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit of both. But it's so lovely. I love it. Yes, there's a very small margin here, but don't worry, that's going to be a me issue, not a you issue. So it's lovely. I love this piece. So that's my Italian lemons. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with my stitching. That's all I got for you. That's just all I've had time for. And I think what we will do next is we'll go into haul, and then we'll go and we'll talk about books at the end, like I kind of normally do. So full disclaimer, there is a lot of haul. Understand if you're on a no buy or low buy or mindful spending, seeing a lot of this, it is excessive, but let me tell you, it is over several months. If you need to dip out, cool. I always have chapters listed below, and it should be in the scroll bar. Skip ahead, whatever. Everything is kind of like detailed. I might over detail my chapters, but skip, leave. No harm, no foul. Like, this is your life. I'm just here to share what I've done. All right, I'm gonna try and do this in chronological order. Might not work out, but at least I know this first one did happen first. And I've been dying to share it with you, because when I was in Florida over Thanksgiving for work, I was able, on one of my days off, I was able to go down to Fort Lauderdale and visit the cross stitch cupboard. And oh my God, I've only been, besides that one, I had only ever been in one other LNS, and that was when I was up in Oregon, kind of before, like, that started my whole entire cross stitch life as of late. So it was phenomenal. Like, I walked in and it was just like sensory overload. Every square inch of that store had cross stitch on the walls. Even I like used the restroom when I was there, and it was smart marketing. There's cross stitch all 4 walls of this tiny bathroom. Every inch was filled with cross stitch. So you're like doing your business and you're like, I like that pattern, that pattern, that pattern. Smart marketing. But I spent 3 hours. And I will say, I don't know if this is like for many LNS stores, local needle workshops, but because I do a lot of, like, as you know, Destash buying on those Facebook groups. So I get a lot of like vintage or older charts, and this store had a bunch, like, had it all. It had old and new, and everything was categorized, and I don't think I saw everything. In fact, I know I didn't see everything, but I was in there for 3 hours. I had all day. It was the only thing I had planned on my day off, was to go down there and shop. I had no budget. I had no time limit. The only reason why it got cut short is, blessed, I think her name's Karen. She had to go to a funeral. So she wasn't planning on going, but then as the day progressed, it was made known to her that she kind of needed to go, which fully understandable. I mean, I was the only one in there, but the only shining light of going to Florida was going to that store. So when I go next, it will be a regular stop for me. So I got fabric and charts. I think I will show the charts first, because they were fun. So And like the way I kind of shop is I just like pull things and then I usually want to like go through it later. But as you'll see, I pulled a lot of very similar charts because I was going to choose, but as it ended up, she just rang me up for all of it. And then when I got back, I was like, oh, I did buy 2 of those. Okay, well, I have 2 of those. Anyways, the number 1 showstopper that I'm like most excited to start is Sunshine and Shadows by Barbara and Cheryl. Yeah, Graphs by Barbara and Cheryl. I love this piece. So my favorite artist is Edward Hopper, and he does a lot of like shadows and light and more of like modern, I don't know, he painted a lot of like real life things, but really heavily played in on the lights and the shadows. And so this just reminded me of it, and look at that. I think it's phenomenal. It is full coverage. It is large. I think I'm gonna try and find like a 20 count Aida to do it. And yes, I know I said I don't really like Aida, but I think it's worth it. So I think I will be finding, I got a gift card for Christmas, so I think I will use that for 20 count Aida. But this one, I love this piece. I want to start it. Do I have any plans for it? No, of course not. But I think it's gorgeous. Look at that. Oh, so wonderful. So wonderful. So there's the first one. And then here we go through like my oopsie daisies. My favorite animal, I have a couple. One, I don't think you can see, but I have a little miniature bison up there, American bison, buffalo, and the sea otter and a white tiger. You've already seen me stitch a sea otter, but I have yet to stitch a white tiger. So I got this lovely, look at that. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I love it. I love the profile look of this. Absolutely majestic. Love me a white Bengal tiger. With the blue eyes, everything. But I also saw this one because I liked the body of the tiger, and I was like, do I want a full body tiger or do I want the face of the tiger? I was gonna make a decision at the last minute, and newsflash, I got both. I mean, this tiger down here, very detailed. Like that is, I guess I could show you here, amazing detail for this tiger. This face way better than this face, right? Like I love this, but I also love this one. Oh, they're so cuddly. I'm not a cat person, but I'm a big fan of tigers. These because I had like a white tiger stuffed animal when I was younger. Named it Snowball. So that's my oopsies that I bought 2. But to go along with my favorite animal, here's a wonderful buffalo. So this is what? Stephanie's American Wildlife, Buffalo and Wolf, Stephanie Seabrook Hedgepeth. So here's my little buffalo. Hello, my love. And it comes in a white. I think I would just do the traditional, especially if I'm doing a white tiger, but I would just do that buffalo. No desire to do the wolf. I really just bought it because I love a good buffalo. Again, I'm an animal stitcher, so I think it's just so cute. Love it. There's some other great designs on the back of here. Like, love it. But this is absolutely one of my favorites. So now I have a chart for every one of my favorite animals. The buffalo, a white tiger, and a sea otter. So yay me. The next 2, this is another one, Perman of Copenhagen flower pot. So I really love like this like Delft blue china. And so I don't know if I would necessarily stitch that, but maybe I would just stitch this flower and pot. But I thought that was very cute. Couldn't pass it up. So we will get to that when I get there. And then the only new chart that I bought, I've seen this and I kind of always wanted it. It just it looks so much fun, but I've heard so many people that it's a slog, because that is Kringles by Little House Needleworks. So I have it. Don't know when I'm gonna stitch it. I've heard so many people like the roof and everything. It's hard to go through, but I'm excited to figure it out on my own. I just think it's so cute. So this is the only new one that I bought when I was there. And then for fabric, you know that I was on like the biggest hunt to find a fabric for my mom's Mr. Bone Jangles by Glendon Place, and so I did find a fabric, and it's probably nothing like you thought I would be expecting. I will show you a picture of Mr. Bone Jangles. I was having the hardest time finding a red, black, blue like fabric that looks here. I even bought the called for, didn't work out. So when I saw this at the store, I had to get it. I know you're probably saying, Jill, what is this? And you are correct, because not exactly. My mom, I've already cut this and given my mom the better half. I just think the skeleton will pop off this. And this is a 16 count Ada nutbet in the color Nutmeg from Atomic Ranch Fabrics. And I wanted to get Ada for my mom. And so she got the better like modeling parts, but you can kind of see it's like a little bit whiter there, but it is a brown. It's a maroon. It is not what is pictured for Mr. Bone Jangles, but for some reason I saw it and I was like, this is the fabric for Mr. Bone Jangles. So it is off with my mother, and this is what I have left over because I bought a fat quarter and then a fat eighth, right? Yeah. So this is my portion. So I bought that while I was there. So happy. Like, it was one of their new releases, and so it was right up by the register, so I got that. Another fabric that I just decided to get, it was a 28 count silk weaver. No plans for this, but look, was made aware of silk weaver when I got a destash of silk weaver in a lot or something, and it's so soft. So I saw this silk weaver, no clue what I want to stitch on it, but I just thought it was so pretty, so why not? I can always figure out what I will stitch on things later. So yeah, 28 count. And then this one, I feel like I also, when I go, like my main goal when I go to LNS, like a cross stitch store, is to look at the fabric, and I want to try and touch and stitch on as many different fabric makers as possible. And so I don't have a lot of fiber on a whim. So I did buy this just neutral, what is it called? So it's a fiber on a whim, 40 count brown sugar. Don't know why I buy 40 counts, but look, I don't know. I feel like you can get two different beautiful pieces on each fat eighth for a fat, but I thought this was gorgeous. So fiber on a whim, brown sugar, 40 count linen. I like the idea of like stitching large pieces on small counts, so it becomes just a little bit more manageable, but that just does mean you're stitching on 40 count. And then the main reason, or what I was like, my objective at the store, is I really wanted to find a fabric that was a cross stitch fabric for my Endangered Species Club projects. I tried it on a non-cross stitch linen, as you saw in my whip parade, just didn't work out. So I wanted to find a cross stitch linen that would work for all 6 of them. And so I think I did, because I have a very specific vision. I want these to kind of look like an artist sketch, but like a researcher, like that they were out on a safari, or they were out, you know, looking at these animals. So I'm gonna do like frayed edges. All that to say, let's just say, so vintage homespun 36 count. I knew I wanted 36 count R&R linen. So, and the best part is you can get it kind of like it's just a basic. But so I kind of have it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I will be able to and I will cut it up. But I will be able, and I'm gonna do my own like kind of fraying with the edges. So I was able to get a very custom cut of this fabric. Here, I'll just show it to you this way, for my Endangered Species Club. So now I can start it. I've especially shown it to you, so maybe like March's animal focus piece will be one of the endangered species. But I think it's just, I think it'll work out. It looks like that parchment, that sketchbook paper that you would see like, not, I guess when you're on safari, or they're like research, like, I don't know. In my mind, I know what it is. So I guess that's all that counts. So vintage homespun, 36 count R&R linen. Just a great neutral for what I have in mind. I hope all the colors pop on that. Fingers crossed it does. Otherwise, I'm back to square one again. Fabric's hard. Fabric is hard to find and source when you can't just pop in somewhere and search for it. So that was all that I got at the LNS in the cross stitch cupboard in Fort Lauderdale. Highly recommend. Wonderful, wonderful store. I have more pictures on my phone of charts that I saw just hanging up that I didn't even get around to like asking her, what's this one? Where's this one? I want this one, this one, this one, this one. I didn't really find a chart that was like their exclusive charts didn't really speak to me, so I didn't want to just buy one just to buy one. I think I'll make one of these charts like my commemorative chart from that shop. Next up are the charts that I got from the Jingle Ball, which is hosted by Stephanie Webb from Lindy Stitches. It was so much fun being there and stitching, and that's where I finished my mom's stocking. So you guys have already heard my experience about Jingle Ball. I just never went through the haul. So I did get quite a few charts, all the PDFs, so that way I can just upload it and go. So first off is I did get the 2024 Jingle Ball Baubles book. There was that Teresa Kogut Santa that just screams nostalgia for me. So I knew I really wanted that ornament. And then of course, I don't know how it happened, but Satsuma Street did their Christmas pickle. So I thought that was I wonder if I can like shrink it up and then make a teeny tiny 3D pickle, like how they have their larger pickle. And there were a couple other baubles in there that made the purchase worth it. And then I bought a couple more. These purchases all live on my computer, so we're just gonna have to go through. Okay, so that's what it's called. So the other Teresa Koguts I got, you were seeing on the screen here, is Holiday Stroll. I absolutely love this one. The deer, it looks holly jolly. That Santa, the jacket, I don't know, like I am really loving this design. So that was a purchase from Kogut. I also got her favorite elf freebie. You're seeing a little mock-up there. It was free. Love a good, I like her Santas. I'm learning I like her Santas. Not all of them, but I like them. Next, the Blue Flower. So I did purchase their like charity chart, which was the Quilber, which the proceeds go to help the what do I want to say? Oh, it has also a cute little, oh, it has the option to do it with that. Yeah, that's over one. Sorry, I'm just, anyways. It went to the, I think it was like a humane, I think it was in Reno, I do believe, but a humane society, and she met this actual porcupine. And so the proceeds from sales from this chart went to that animal rescue. So I said, I could not pass it up. It is super cute. So I did that one, but then I also bought the winter quail. I grew up with my mom's obsession with quails, and this is a gorgeous quail. And there's an option to do it with the scarf or without the scarf. But I just thought it's such a quintessential quail and it's lovely. So I did purchase that. And then I got the freebie, the festive fruit bat. But then from Lindy Stitches, I went back and forth because I was like, I have an issue with houses in cross stitch. They all look the same, but I could not pass up this chart from Lindy Stitches. It is Snowflakes and Stars. It was the geese in scarves that got it, that sold it for me. I also love just the Noel at the bottom, and it's, even though it looks like a traditional box style house, I like the color of the house. And I know I can always change colors for charts that I need, but you know, sometimes I need someone else to like point me in the direction. So I'm still looking forward to like a nice large A-frame house or log cabin, but like an A-frame log cabin, because I grew up in an A-frame log cabin. Because I know Cottage Garden Samplings, they did that house series, and there are a lot of unique houses, which I appreciate. I want to see more unique houses in cross stitch. Not everybody lives in a grand colonial or Greek style or even Victorian. Like, I want more like modern. I'd love to see a mid-century modern like silhouette of a front elevation of a house. And a lot they did, so Cottage Garden Samplings did do a log cabin, but it was a box log cabin. I want an A-frame log cabin or just an A-frame house. I know they also in their A Year in the Woods, which is coming back, which I can't wait to see what animals love to stitch an animal. I think in the fox there's like a tiny A-frame. It's a tiny one, but I do appreciate the A-frame. So I'm making a petition for more unique houses. That's all I ask for. More unique houses. I think the Artsy Housewife did a house that the frame of it was very square and boxy, but the coloring, she had it look as if there was like ivy growing on the side of the house. Love that. I was like, oh, I kind of want to stitch that because that's unique. Anyways, all that to say, I got this house because it's blue, and the geese in scarves. Okay, the next up is the Tiny Modernist, and I have had, she was also kind of running a sale on her store at Jingle Balls, so I picked up a pattern I have been eyeing for a long time, which is the Yule Goddess. I absolutely love this as like a Christmas piece. I think it's the perfect blend of like holiday without overkill and a little bit more of like Swedish motifs, which I love that vintage style. So I did pick up a Yule Goddess. I really would like to stitch it soon. Allison from Allison at the Moment here on YouTube and Cross Stitch the Globe, she stitched this piece and it is fantastic. So hats off to you, Allison. And then I grew up loving a good snow globe. I had a snow globe collection. Unfortunately, those do not last the test of time unless you have a very specific temperature controlled armoire, which mine are not. They're in clear plastic boxes, I think in my mom's attic, which has temperature changes. So a lot of them kind of got dehydrated. I think there's a way you can just like syringe in more fluid in them, but I don't think I will have them. Anyway, all that to say, I got Tiny Modernist Christmas Snow Globe. I don't think I will stitch the presents and the snowman and the nutcracker and the penguin at the bottom. I think I would just like chop that off and just do the snow globe at the top with the animals in it and Santa. That's a really great snow globe. Hats off to you. So that was all my purchases from the Jingle Ball. Yeah, so we're just gonna keep on trucking for all my other purchases. I have been on the Destash sites. Probably shouldn't, but retail therapy was the one thing that I couldn't stitch because all my cross stitch stuff that I wanted to stitch or felt like stitching, they were all in a suitcase, and I just did not have, I kind of needed to have that in a suitcase for as long as possible. until the fires were like under control enough for me to like feel like I could breathe and unpack it. So I've been on retail therapy. So I did get more fabric. Not that I need any fabric. I don't need any of this stuff. I want it. And it makes me happy. So one Destash bundle that I bought. Again, like I said, I want to try to at least have one piece of every dyer that I can get my hands on. So this was a Color and Cotton 28 count Tango linen. It is a very cute pink. Kind of like an orangey pink. It's way more pink in person. It's coming up way too orange here, but it is a gorgeous little pink. I don't think I'll ever be able to get that, but so I've never stitched on or felt Color and Cotton, but I know a lot of people love it. And then from XG Design, I think I have like I think I have fabric from XG Designs, and I really like it. I haven't stitched on it yet, but I just thought this, it's kind of this is marbled, yeah, marbled, right? Marbled? Yeah, marbled bunny. And it's very similar to Flannel Flower. This is just like a orangey version as opposed to Flannel Flower being like a greenish blue. So this is more warm. Flannel Flower's more blue, but this, I mean, that's so pretty. I don't know what I would do on it, but I think it's lovely. What is the count? Ooh, what is the count? I think this was also 28 count. Just as marbled bunny. Oh yeah, 28 count. Nope, there it is. So there's that. I'm learning. I like to stitch on higher count fabrics only because I can use less fabric, and so I can kind of keep my fabric stash and pieces aren't as large, because I think what I'm going to try and do here in 2025 is also scrapbook my my finishes, but I want to do it in like as plastic free as possible in like one of those huge like newspaper portfolios. So and I've gone down a rabbit hole of trying to make my own like scrapbook with the posts, book fabric, binding my own scrapbook. I can't just buy anything because in my mind I can make that, so why not? But so if I stitch it on higher counts, then it'll fit on a piece of paper, but I am planning on making like a giant scrapbook so it can fit a giant sampler if I so choose to have like a full coverage piece that I don't want hung up, but I want it displayed. So then my nephew and niece, like, they can come over, they can see it. When I pass, it will go to them and they can, you know, see all that fun stuff. So that's my plan. I did get a gift card to the art supply store so I can buy the supplies to make the books, the scrapbooks. I bought a lot of 40 count linen that were like scraps and pieces off of a Destash because they had, what was it? They had like a couple pieces in here. Oh yeah, they had a Forbidden Fiber Co. in here that I haven't stitched on Forbidden Fiber Co. I was part of their Novel Notions book club for a while, but it just never worked out for when I could meet up at the book club, and the charts were just more word heavy than I would have liked. I don't like to stitch words a lot, so, which I think you've heard me say. So I got this 40 count grandma slip linen from XG Design. So it's just a teeny tiny cut for that, but 40 count, you don't need a lot for 40 count. So there's that. That was one. Then I got 40 count tin roof. I think this is a week's, I don't know, little ornament can fit on here. 40 count sandstone linen. I think this is a witchel because you can see me through it. And it's stiff like a witchel, and the selvage doesn't have the orange line of a Zwiegart. So that was 40 count. Then I got 40 count fawn, picture this plus. So we have this lovely piece. That's a great, it was an offcut, but she advertised it as like this size. So a other side is just a bonus scrap that I can fit something on. So that's a lovely, lovely color. Then another Picture This Plus, which is 40 count felt, which that's what my raccoon piece is being stitched on. This is a way brighter, and I had a 40 count felt, so this is like a different felt, which is very fun. But if Cottage Garden Samplings is doing another year in the woods, this will be, maybe she'll do felt again. You can't go wrong, right? So there's that one. And then this was the Forbidden Fiber Co. one. It is a 40 count, like I said, Parliament. So this is super pink. You can't really tell, but it's a pinky yellow, but it's so cute. There's like a little discoloration there. I don't really mind though, you know, like that's the whole point of the dyeing process, but it's so pretty. So really excited to like try stitching on this. It feels nice on first feel. Yeah, so, and then this was a 40 count cookie crumb. Doesn't say who it's by. It is a Zwiegart base. This is cookie crumb. So if you know who makes cookie crumb, let me know. There's some pretty modeling there at the bottom. And then the last one from this lot is a 40 count sack lunch. So I think these two, they kind of have the same tag. It's just a little bit darker of the one that I just showed you. So the one, here's sack lunch and cookie crumb. Cookie crumb's lighter, more modeled. Sack lunch, pretty much basic, no modeling to it. So that was my 40 count linen lot. Do I stitch a lot on 40 count? No, I'm still trying to find my sweet spot. I don't know what my sweet spot is. I know I love a loop start, so 2 strands, but I also, it's hard. I railroad my stitches when I do 2 strands, and so with the stab and pull method, and as I'm like learning to do more of the sewing method, you can't really railroad with the sewing method. So 1 stranded on like 36 and 40 count is really easy to do the sewing method. So I like that a lot. This will be probably a problem for a long time for me. Okay, so this last little bit of haul that I have, let me just double check. Yeah, this last little bit of haul that I have is just, it was gifted to me. So one of my clients that I work for now, she has like one needlepoint project that she's been working on for 10 years. But she's also handy. She's very crafty, very artsy. So we're getting ready for baby number 2 coming. And so clearing out closets that she's had stacked, all that to say, she gifted me like a box of like craft supplies, and there was some yarn in there because I do want to try knitting. That's going to be a whole nother thing. I don't think I'll ever share knitting on here because I'm not that proficient and I go very slow. So you wouldn't really tell. But there were some like great finds that I had. One of them being 4 skeins of water lily silk. Oh, do I have any plans for these? Absolutely not. But I have 4 skeins of water lily silk. So this one is Daffodil, a wonderful yellow. This one is Baby's Breath. This one is Tangerine, and this one is Blueberry. In the box, there was like tags for all the Baby Breath, so these 3. So it seemed like she maybe have used it on another project for whatever reason. But so I have 4 skeins of silk to add to my stash. Normally I don't stash build floss just because I'd rather just go with what's called for, but maybe this will help me branch out to use silks for some other thing. And another absolute wind was this blending filament, Krynic blending filament. I know I need this for that Barbara and Cheryl Sunday like full coverage. It did call for blending filament, and so when I found this in the box, I was like, this is a major score because I needed this. And so now I don't have to, hopefully I only need 1 strand of it. But yeah, especially if I do it on 40 count, 1 strand, or 20 count Aida. That'll be a little bit interesting to see how I can do this. Anyways, that's me to figure out later. So I got blending filament, which is really cool. Like I said, there was some yarn and some knitting needles, and some circulars, because I need some circulars. And then the rest was just wool and pearl cotton. So here's these two are silk and merino wool. So don't know. And then some some DMC metallics, pearl metallic, 2 gold, 1 silver, and then these pearl cottons. They do say, I guess in this light, yeah, I can tell the difference in the colors. At night when I was going through it, I could not tell the different colors between that. But so I have pearl cotton, don't know what to do, a bag of scraps, some canvas. So she had already started. Needlepoint is cool. Like, look at those stitches. I don't think you can see, but they're kind of like really cool stitches, and some tapestry needles. So maybe I'll try my hand at needlepoint, or just working on something that's like a bigger, that you need canvas for. So that's it, everyone. We went through the haul. I think that was about like 20-30 minutes of haul, but you got stories in there, and there was a lot, like I said, mainly fabric and charts. But I mean, finding the silk and the blending filament, that was the biggest score. So super happy to have found that. So very thankful for that too. Let's see here. I think that's it. That is it. Congratulations. You have reached all of the haul. And I hope you enjoyed that. I know I enjoyed buying all that. Yeah, so let's get into books, and then we can do life stuff at the end. So you can hop out if you do not care about my life, and that is completely fine. So let's talk books, shall we? All right, so for books, I've decided there was very few that I read in December. I think I only read one. But we're just gonna talk about books that I've read throughout the new year. And there haven't been a lot, but we will still get into it. So first up was Mistakes We Never Made. So this is a rom-com. This is from book written by Hannah Brown. I didn't make the connection until like the end of the book, or when I was like going on to Goodreads and getting everybody else's reaction to the book. But Hannah Brown was on The Bachelorette. Not that that matters for this book, but anyway, so it was basically a rom-com. So the female main character and the male main character, like they've been in each other's lives since they were like in high school, middle school, but they were friends, then they had a falling out, then they kept coming back together, hooking up, not like mumbo jumbo drama, but they were always connected by like one main friend. And so that main friend is getting married. So they all come together for like the wedding weekend. It's set in Southern California, and the bride is like a runaway bride. So the female main character is like her best friend, and but she puts a lot of pressure onto herself to like make everything perfect. And then the dude is like her male best friend, but like he's way like go with the flow, like kind of dude, kind of. Anyways, they go on this epic road trip to try to track her down, and you know, they're going based off of like the Find My Friends location, but they can't let the fiance know, and they're just trying to hide it from everyone. This book did not do it for me. I think it was a 2.75. I rounded up to 3 because I can see the potential in it. And so it just wasn't like the entire book. You're told that like this bride has this secret that like she can't tell, and like the secret is the main reason why the female and the male main character like don't get together, and like it's kind of like this spark that like it's the biggest roadblock between them getting together, and he keeps saying, it's not my secret to tell, she has to tell you. fully respect that, love it. You never find out. Like, you never find out what that secret is, and that irked me to no end. Like, she's like, I'll tell you at a later time. I'll tell you when it's the right time. I'll tell you this, I'll tell you that. It's like, we just went through the entire book and never found out. Like, that was rude. That was full on rude. So if that irks you, do not pick up this book, because you will never find out. And that does not make me want to pick up a second book to maybe find out. Not that I think there is a second book, but like, that is annoying. Like, no, I was so pissed when I got to the end and there was no, because like, I always try to see if like I can figure out the plot twist before it's revealed, and I'm really good at it. Like, I can figure it out most of the time. And when a book stumps me, I'm like, hats off to you, you did it. And this one, I never find out, so it's irritating me. So do not recommend this book unless you read the premise and you think it would be fun. If you're fine never knowing, you're great, then it's fine for you. But I do not recommend it. Yeah. Then January, as you all know, or maybe don't know, the third book in the Empyrean series from Rebecca Yarros, who wrote Fourth Wing, came out. So I knew I wanted to do my re-listen of the Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and so I did complete those two, not in time for Onyx Storm to be released. I think I finished Fourth Wing, I buzzed through real quick and easy. Iron Flame took me a bit longer. It's a lot. Yeah. And then Onyx Storm, I have started Onyx Storm, and then I had to put it down because they're very just war heavy, like intense fighting and like figuring out like secrets of like the war college and the dynamics of like military structure and dragons. And it's, I wouldn't say heavy, but it's like a lot. And if you're not used to, or if you don't like to read like fantasy world building like that, then it's not. But I do enjoy these stories a lot. Like, they are like 4 and 5 star reads for me, just because like it's a great story. It's just, I think if I were to just continue on to Onyx Storm, which I know like Iron Flame leaves you in a cliffhanger, and so like I definitely want to read Onyx Storm like right away to like get to there. But I know it's gonna like have more like depth to it, so I needed a break. So after I finished Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, which recommend those books, I read This Summer Will Be Different, and that is by Carly Fortune. And I like her books. They're all like summer-based, like Canadian, like Canadian. She's a Canadian author, and she chooses to write about places in Canada, and kind of like that's a main character of each book as well. Her stories do line up to be very similar, but I think because I had read, what was her first one? I had read her first one, which was, we shall just go through. I have my Goodreads open. Every Summer After was our first one. Meet Me at the Lake. I think those two, very, very, very similar story. But This Summer Will Be Different. I do think it was like a different story. It's kind of very similar to actually Mistakes We Never Made, in a sense of like there's the male and female main characters. In This Summer Will Be Different, it's like her best friend's younger brother, right? And so they hook up, but they don't know that like they're connected through the best friend's sister. So then when they do meet up and realize that, like they have to stay away and do it. So it's all this kind of like forbidden, but they keep hooking up and it's still really good every time. Carly Fortune is a bit more like closed door, not as open door as like other romance books are. But so I really liked it though. I felt like you could feel like chemistry and like the attraction from like the first couple chapters, right? So I just felt like it brings you in right away, and you kind of like, it's a timeline jump where, God, it's really actually, now that I talk about them all at the same time, it's very much at the very similar to Mistakes We Never Made, because that best friend, she's getting married, and what happens like 2 weeks or a week before her wedding, she like goes back to the summer house, which that's where Prince Edward Island, and she requests her best friend to come, and like her brother like lives there, so then they're right back into it, and they're trying to figure out, like, the bride never goes missing, but the bride definitely has like left before the wedding, and you're trying to figure out why. I didn't see that coming, but it also wasn't like a big why. Like I went too far, which my mind always goes too far. And it was like a very surface level like reason why she dipped out. They do eventually get married at the end, but so it's a good, like, I wouldn't say rom-com, it's just a good like novel. And so I do recommend that. I know I kind of like just barely talked about it, but it's a good novel. I do recommend it. It's about like kind of discovering, for the female main character, she's like has to find like who she is as a person, and you know, finding her self-worth with her career, and then her like best friend, and trying to find her identity separate from those two, because she really leans into those two. And I feel like it's a really good narrative for, like, I know for me myself, like I come on here and I tell you I'm a professional nanny, but like there are things that like I do and probably need to find like happiness and satisfaction outside of my career, and I do, but I also really love my career too. So so I think it was a very modern time book. So I like Carly Fortune. She has another book coming out this summer, and I don't know, I feel like she's like kind of like Elin Hildebrand. I butchered that last name, but who always wrote about books set every summer in Nantucket. Like, that's very repetitive, but she made a very successful career. So I feel like Carly Fortune is like doing kind of a very similar thing. She's writing all about these books about these places in Canada, and like I said, they all are a character in the book. Like Prince Edward Island was a big character piece for this book. So I enjoyed it. It was a great break between like after Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, to have like this kind of lighter book. I still have not dove back into Onyx Storm yet. It's just everything. So so I did that. So I finished that one, and then I did just finish, like last night, I finished Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I picked it up because I like Ali Hazelwood because she writes a lot about females in STEM or STEAM careers. And so my sister-in-law we always add that A for architecture in STEAM or in STEM. So science and all that. So but this was completely different, right? This goes into vampires and werewolves and humans, and I love a good like magical realism book, but I'm learning I am not a beast, like different species book. I think that's one of the main reasons why I never picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses, because I'm not into like the species dynamic. And so I didn't. This book was fine, but I feel like it had a lot of hype, and I just didn't really connect with it. Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting story. Like, instead of like werewolves being bitten by another werewolf, like they are a subspecies, and then vampires are their own like subspecies too. So, and then you have the humans, and so bit dystopian too. Like, you have these like human vampire and like werewolf collaterals. So like as kids, they get sent to live, like one kid in the vampire world gets sent to live in the human world, and the humans send one, and basically it's like, okay, don't kill my kid, or don't kill that collateral kid, or else we start a full-on war. And like that's messed up. But whatever, we don't live in that world. Like, this is a fantasy world. I read about dragons and dragon wars too, so it just didn't, I enjoyed it for what it was. Because there is a mystery that you're trying to solve. Didn't see it coming, but also I wasn't like super invested into it to like care that I didn't win this discovery. Just bit my lip. But it was okay. I do recommend. Just wasn't my cup of tea. But I see the appeal if that is your cup of tea. But I'm not gonna yuck your yum. So I say if you like it, good on ya. I do recommend it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. So it just got basic 3 stars. Because that's 3 is good basic for me. I think I read a Megan Quinn book in there, but when it's on my Kindle, I don't, and they're just Kindle Unlimited, which I'm trying to break up with Amazon. But I do have Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited is worth it when you just need some like filler books. Those are all the books. So I have books to talk about. Have they made it to my Instagram page? No. Will they? I don't know. I don't know. Social media is not my focus. I like to be on it and see what everybody else does, but it is not something that I take the time to put into it because there are other things that I could be doing with my time. But I guess that's just more pressure on myself to try to make it something when I could just take a picture and move on. I do like to update WIP progress in my stories. So if you want to know, it's there and you can follow me there with this handle. Stitching books. Okay, I'm gonna go into like kind of life things and plans and the reasons that it was a bit of a bummer start to 2025. I hope you guys are all doing okay. I know I'm not alone in having a bummer start to 2025. I just have an extra added bummer level for it. Life is kind of coming back to normal, but is that necessarily a good thing? I'll spare you my commentary on how we dropped the ball when it came to post-pandemic. Like, we just went right back to pre when we had the opportunity to change systems, but we didn't. So is it a good thing that like life forces us to go back to normal right away after tragedy? No. And is there any sense of normal for people who have suffered from a great tragedy? No. And do we know what life is gonna look like here for the next couple years? Who knows? You can only take it one day at a time and like what you can do in your own capacity at the moment, and just know that that is the best that you can do. So if that's being really proactive and involved in certain initiatives that feel right for you, that's great. If like the only thing that you can do right now to keep going is to just do your bare minimum, then you did the best you could. And that's kind of where I have been for the past like several weeks, is just doing the bare minimum to get through the day. And that's the best that I can show up to help. Because if I can't get through the day, then I can't be there in the future when I have more capacity to get involved with initiatives that feel right for me. So I hope you guys are all doing well, in whatever capacity that looks like for you, wherever you are in the world. And so life is back. It is easy in my job to kind of like disassociate and kind of like separate myself from like what's going on, because like I'm dealing with kids that are so removed from it. So like our best part of the day is playing make-believe with our imaginary friends who we're just cooking or having a picnic or like, you know, doing fun things. I am thinking, and if you've made it this far, you can let me know, I am thinking of making some draft door stoppers, So I knew growing up I had a couple of these, but especially in wintertime, they're like these very, very long, almost lumbar pillows, but you just put them at the base of your door. Because right now I just have, I've rolled up towels and put them at the base of my door, and just to kind of like make sure that like things just aren't coming in if it gets windy, because I know it kind of, the way my apartment is, it kind of can be a wind tunnel. So I have that. So I'm thinking about maybe stitching like a design on something that I can make into a long pillow that I just throw at the end of the door, at the bottom of the door. It can get dirty. Maybe I'll use like those pearl cottons for something with a large, I don't know. So that's been on my mind lately. And then it's kind of like the only like adjustments that I've been making. I have a full set of DMC. I think I'm only missing like 6 colors, but I have all of the colors. So that's kind of like, I had like a coupon to Michael's and I just decided to do it. And because that way I have them all. I can start anything now. That's DMC. So that was pretty exciting for me. Now I get to figure out how I want to like floss drop them, and like when I get up multiple projects that have the same color, like what am I doing? So I don't think it's actually easier that I have a full set now, because now I have to figure that out. So I will be doing a giveaway here, my next video, and I'll be giving away probably a lot of stuff. So there's no metric applied to it. It's just gonna happen because I just need to offload. So I think we will end it there. This is going to be a bear to edit. Editing is not my favorite activity. Which is probably why certain videos take forever to get out there when it has a large timestamp like this one does. I hope you enjoyed everything you saw. The stitching was in the beginning. Haul, I hope, was like somewhat entertaining for you. And then if you cared to talk about or listen to anything, if you did, I know a lot of people do, and I'm horrible with it, just because I watch on my TV and I don't have time to put it on my phone to comment. If you made it this far, put a palm tree emoji, because like that's applicable. And so I know you made it to the end and you stayed with me while I rambled on for God knows how long. But yeah, so put a palm tree emoji. Thank you again for everyone, no matter what way you choose to interact with these videos. If it's just passively watching, just having it in the background, liking and commenting, subscribing, anything, is just nice to have an outlet to share and to chat. And I hope that you are doing well and you have a wonderful, wonderful to you day, whenever you see this and whenever I get it posted. And we can just continue on being the best we can be, so we can show up for others when they need it in the world. So stay awesome, be awesome, and do kind things. And thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next time. Thank you.